Hello everyone. Welcome to this lecture on Practical Empirical Implementation Project Part 1. In this lecture, we will be discussing about this PEEP project which explores the ethnography on the East Kolkata wetlands through a historically enriched relevant intervention using the toolkit aided grassroots engagement, also known as the heritage method. In this particular lecture, we will be discussing these two concepts, the SMUS action network and the agendas and possibilities provided by this network, and the context of the PEEP project in East Kolkata wetlands. So, what is this SMUS project or PEEP project? So, SMUS is actually a global center of spatial methods for urban sustainability, and it is one of the 12 excellence centers for exchange and development that is co-funded by the German Academic Exchange Service, also known as DAT, and the TU Berlin. So, this particular network of this SMUS network actually aims to collaborate global South researchers in advancing academic education across multiple spatial disciplines, because they believe that the difference in understanding the methodologies across disciplines such as sociology, geography, urban planning, etc., it is important to form a common path to understand transdisciplinary ways of actions, and this can actually bridge the gap between research and planning practices. On the right side of the screen, you see a map. This map actually shows the various SMUS centers across the globe, and you will see that it is concentrated around mostly the global South, because that is part of their sustainable development agenda, goal 11, that is to develop sustainable cities and communities as part of the 2030 agenda of the UN, to bring together the various these nations of global South who actually face various unjust practices and equations regarding the attainment of their SDG goals. So, the SMUS network actually consists of 5 main actions. The first action is to educate. So, in the first action of education, the SMUS network actually plans to hold various international conferences and collaborations, because it is believed that while as seen especially during the time of COVID, that it was difficult for the researchers from global South and global North to access their particular research spaces. And beside the COVID perspective as well, there are differences of regionality, community understanding, social understanding, which makes it difficult for these two particular agendas of the global South and global North to come together. So, it is the only way they can actually understand how the practices among communities, among academia works in their respective places. It is important to hold conferences, to hold workshops and seminars, and that is the first agenda or the first action of the SMUS network, that is to educate each other, where the global North and the global South will be exchanging their understanding, their academic experiences through these conferences. In the second part of the action is experience. So, experience is about combining teaching and research courses. So, it is believed that the main agenda of SMUS is to understand these different spatial methods, and that can only be done by actuating these courses and teaching on these different spatial methods that people from different disciplines of academia can actually access, because this is another issue that the global South faces because of various unjust understandings or unequal practices that happens in the global South. Now, they always do not have that privilege of understanding this advanced technical courses and methods that are being taught in the global North. At the same time, when the global North, they are teaching about these courses, they would require grassroots or context specific engagements as well. That can be achieved through the second action of experience. The third action is of evaluation. So the third action of evaluation looks at fostering doctoral and postdoctoral research across global south and global north, where it not only helps in providing a better understanding of how this UN development goals can be fitted into career agendas, but at the same time it can also help in actuating this academic understandings and theoretical knowledge into practice based applications, which leads us to the fourth action, that is of exchange, where this practical empirical implementations are the main focus of the SMUS network. That whatever the students, the researchers, the collaborators have learned over the years through the past actions now need to be implemented in the field in the global south, so that they can notice how these various understandings and academic practices and theories can actually be implemented into the field by engaging the local people, the stakeholders there, which will be leading into action 5, that is enhancing the relation between urbanity and nature, bridging the gap between research and practice. In this particular research, we will be looking into action 4 specifically, that is exchange, where the PEEP project is part of this action 4 exchange curriculum. So if we are to discuss about action 4 in more detail, it talks about the collaboration between academics and practitioners by the use of the spatial research methods or the application of the SMUS toolkit or SMUS glasses. So what is this about? So it is believed in the academic field that because of the differences of disciplinary traditions, it is often difficult to get so many people from different academic disciplines to come together and form action based researches. So imagine how difficult it becomes to teach this theoretical methods to the people who are part of the space of the community, because they are not academics at all. So the action 4 actually looks into making sure that these methods are understood by the people of the space that we are researching, because they are the inhabitants, they are the custodians of the space. So even if the researchers, the academics have a very good theoretical understanding, these theories cannot be brought into application without making the local community, the people who are part of the space, in understanding how they can actually safeguard their heritage, their natural ecological heritages. So the SMUS have developed a toolkit, or which something they call the SMUS glasses, where they have decided upon a set of particular methods that can be used, or set of spatial methods that can be used to teach the inhabitants of the space on how to perceive their own the space that they are living in from a new perspective, and how they can actually use those toolkit, those glasses, to teach their future generations and other people in the community they are engaging with. So this particular image that you see here is of the this particular SMUS glasses, where it is perceived that by wearing when the academic people actually teach the local stakeholders, the practitioners, in wearing the glasses or understanding these methods, after wearing this glass, they will have a very alternative view of the space that they have already been living in. And by using that alternative view, they can actually also teach the researchers again back that how their knowledge can also be improved and how it can be further used in safeguarding that place as well. So this is the SMUS toolkit, or actually the glass that we are talking about. So the SMUS toolkit actually comprises of two main components. First, the ethnographic observation, and 2, the visualization technique. So as you see, the ethnographic observation is actually a qualitative methodology that is used by various researchers of qualitative disciplines such as sociology, geography, history, etc., So ethnography basically means of integrating different qualitative tools of research of in field work, which includes participant observation, key informant interviews, focus group discussion, transect works, etc., where these researchers use this particular methods to study a community in a very enriched and deep manner, where they study the everyday specialities of a space. So this term everyday speciality is also a very interesting thing that the Smooth network has come up with. They believe that because we are living in a space, we are constantly looking at it, sometimes what we see as a very ordinary or mundane thing might be very an integral part of that region's identity or characteristic, and that can only be identified when you start wearing the SMUS glasses, looking into the deeper realities, deeper meanings of the space. So in this part of this SMUS toolkit, it is important to use this ethnographic observation to understand this everyday specialities through participant observations, interviews, etc. That will lead us to the second part of this toolkit, that is the application of visualization techniques. So why is this visualization technique important? Because at the end of the day, if we are trying to teach or train the local people, the local community in understanding these methods, the mode of dissemination should also be a little bit easy to comprehend. It should be deeply rooted in empirical knowledge, but the method of understanding should be a very open-ended way, so that when the practitioners will be teaching their local community, it is easier for them to make them understand, to teach. So the best possible method here are the visualization techniques, which can be mapping the space through drawings, sketches, photographs, videography, etc. So the SMUS class, SMUS network believe that the SMUS glass is an important component in integrating this empirical knowledge with this visualization technique, so that when we combine these two methods, we develop a synergy between the scientific knowledge and the practical knowledge that is developed by the local indigenous people. And this is something of this is a very interesting quote that SMUS talks about, is when we apply this toolkit, it makes the familiar what is strange and the strange what is familiar, which basically refers to that the thing that we find very common will become very strange to us because we have never perceived it before in that way. And what we found to be strange beforehand, we didn't consider to be an important part at all, it soon becomes a very important component of that region, of that case study itself. And this actually helps us in actuating the 11.4 agenda of the Sustainable Development Goals, that is protecting the world's cultural and natural heritage, to understand heritage beyond the normative understandings. So this is where we get into the foray of the East Kolkata wetlands, which is an urban ecological heritage. So why was this PEEP applied here? This PEEP project was applied here, this practical empirical implementation project, because we consider Kolkata's history, the normative understanding of Kolkata's history and heritage is often associated with with strong and built structures such as like buildings, monuments, streets and all those things. But should a heritage, the understanding of heritage be confined to such terms only? What about the ecology of the city that is being constantly sustained for hundreds of years? How is Kolkata surviving? Kolkata is one of the few cities in the world that has a completely free of cost natural based wastewater recycling facility, that is the East Kolkata wetlands. As you have learned in the previous lectures, that how the entire waste from the city of Kolkata is being drained into the wetlands, how they act as a carbon sink, they filter the entire pollution of the city. They provide livelihoods, to so many people from the wetlands to the city. They are keeping the, cost of living for Kolkata so low. So shouldn't this particular, ecosystem that is maintaining the city, preserving the city, considered a heritage? And also, shouldn't we consider, the sustenance of the wetland itself? How is the wetland surviving? Can the wetland survive without this connection of wastewater from the city? So this inherent and deep embedded relationship between city and nature is something that we should safeguard. And that is why the PEEP project we were part of, we decided to focus on the East Kolkata wetlands. Already, the wetlands are a very important part of the sustainable development goals. As you see here, there are so many components from SDG 1 to 17 that can be found in, the wetlands. And the East Kolkata wetlands, because of its diversity in livelihoods, diversity in, habitation ranging from human to flora and fauna, and its very important ecological component, it is considered as a wetland of international importance by the Ramsar, in 2002. So this actually shows that we cannot always restrict the understanding of heritage as only tangible and built features. The understanding of heritage should always go beyond, this textbook definitions, and should be seen and perceived through what we are seeing around us, what we are learning about our environment, about nature around us, and understanding how this urban and nature connection always works. So with this understanding, I will be going to this part of the lecture, which is the understanding of PEEP, or Practical Empirical Implementation Project in the East Kolkata wetlands. So this was part of the Action 4 agenda of the SMUS network, where we decided to explore this everyday specialities of, the wetlands through the application of ethnography methodology. So ethnography is a little bit different than the conventional ethnography methodology. Here the hyphen between ethno and graphy holds a very important, meaning. So before coming to that, let me talk about this picture, the illustration that we have made. This illustration actually showcases the different partners of this PEEP project in EKW. So here you will see where the picture of the hat showcases the role of academia, and and on the other side, on the extreme, right side of the picture, you will see the position of the practitioner of the EKW, and in between, on the bottom side, you will see an image of a student, holding a bag. So they are the custodians of the place that we had selected to work this, project on. So the idea was that if we are to teach the people of the wetlands these spatial methods, so that they can use it later, to see their own space in a very different manner, who should be the one? Who should be these practitioners who should be taught about it? So we decided that we would be engaging the local young students, school students from the East Kolkata wetland schools, students from class 8 and 9, because they are the custodians of the place. They are the ones who will be inheriting the place. They are the ones who should have this kind of awareness of this place and how these important methods can actually help in protecting this place they live in. So we so the partners of this project were basically IIT Kharagpur and the a local creative collective known as the Disappearing Dialogue, who we will call DD here. And so this academic IIT and creative collective DD, they came together to actually select the students from the schools to teach them this different methods. And then we decided that these students, after learning these methods, after applying these methods of SMUS classes on the field, they would be selecting the practitioners of the place, of the wetlands, whom they can further teach the use of the glasses and how it can be used in future practices. So we selected 3 types of bheris or sewage fed fisheries from the East Kolkata wetlands, a government bheri, a private bheri, and a cooperative bheri, where the students will be teaching the authorities about how they have applied these methods in EKW, about what they have learned from applied these methods, and why their new learnings should be learned by these practitioners as well, and that they would do by the use of this ethno-graphy method, because ethno-graphy method, it aligns with that SMUS toolkit concept. So, in this particular method, what we do is we combine the traditional or conventional ethnographic methods of interviews, of transect works, of participant observation and discussions, and after integrating those knowledge into one place, we try to explain that knowledge through a very participatory, agency induced ethno-visual tool. That can be done through cartography, videography, photography, sketches, illustrations, etc. So, it actually opens up avenues for the practitioner to learn and then to teach the people about what the new knowledge that they have gained, and whether they have learned or unlearned new things, or whether they can provide critical feedback to the academic practitioners as well on this particular matter. So, here we will be concluding this particular lecture, and the next part of the PEEP will be discussed in the section 2 of the PEEP lecture. Thank you.